Hello and welcome to Theatre.Reviews with Paul Seven. I'm here at the Young Vic to see The Little Foxes. Probably like me, you see more acting on TV and film than in the theatre. So, well, personally, I'm always interested to see whether a favourite actor can make that transition from screen to stage. The last year saw a wave of American stars visiting London theatres, and that trend shows no sign of slowing down. But the results were varied. Sarah Snook from Succession was sensational. Sigourney Weaver, well, she proved that success in Hollywood is no guarantee that someone can speak Shakespeare. To quote Susanna Clapp in The Observer, she was not only unsure of her lines, but apparently uncertain of what a line is. Anyway, The Little Foxes at the Young Vic is packed with faces from British television. Mark Bonnar, who you'll have seen in Shetland and Guilt. Steffan Rhodri, best known as Dave Coaches from Gavin Stacey. Anna Madeley, who is Mrs. Hall in All Creatures Great and Small. And one certifiable star in Anne-Marie Duff, most recently seen in a major role in Bad Sisters. Now, I've seen all these actors on stage before, but it's still a thrill to be reminded that, like so many British TV actors, they're often only giving us a glimpse of their skills when they're in front of a camera. The real test of their acting ability comes when they're trapped in the time and space of theatre, communicating directly with a live audience. Keep watching, and I'll tell you just how well each of them did without close-ups and second takes. And because this play opened a few weeks ago, I've already read the reviews for my reviews roundup on my Theatre.Reviews website, so I'll be taking issue with those reviewers who criticise the play and the production for being dated and confusing and even alienating. But first, may I ask you to like, comment and subscribe to this channel. Lillian Hellman's The Little Foxes was premiered in 1939, but this attack on capitalism focuses on a bunch of landowners from the American South around 1900. So the first question you might ask is, why did Lillian Hellman, who was a communist by the way, set her play around 40 years in the past? Well, I'm guessing that the 1940s were not the best time for an anti-capitalist message. America had just experienced a great deal of successful state intervention in their free market system with the Roosevelt New Deal. So a mixed economy may have seemed more attractive than a communist one. More than that, communists and capitalists, rich and poor, were in the process of uniting against fascism. Or at least that was the perception at the time. So it was easier, I think, to show unadulterated capitalism, raw in tooth and claw, as it were, from a couple of generations earlier. The first half introduces us to the Hubbard family. There are two brothers. Ben, played by Mark Bonnar, cunning as a fox and arrogant as a peacock, initially strutting about the stage, shrugging off challenges. Ben boasts of the way his family, who were traders, took advantage of the Civil War to buy up property while the Southern grandees were fighting for their principles. He's even proud of their exploitation of what he calls coloured people. The other brother, Oscar, a weak bully, is played by Steffan Rhodri with a rat-like blend of slyness and nerves. The lead character is their sister, Regina, played by Anne-Marie Duff. Hers is the performance that dominates the evening as we are entranced by her hyperactive character, which is by turn charming, quivering with frustration, or displaying a diamond-hard willpower that is genuinely chilling. Her sparkling eyes and wide smile are a mask that covers her amorality. The brothers inherited their father's money, and when they have an investment opportunity that will make them a huge fortune, Regina is shocked and angry to find that she is left out of the spoils of this deal. So she plots to get both her share and revenge by using her ailing husband's money to make up the additional investment her brothers need. After a slow first half that establishes the characters and their situation, the play really takes off like a SpaceX rocket as these greedy siblings ruthlessly trick and use one another. Regina becomes more ruthless than any of them in her ambition. It's a bravura performance in what could be a slightly melodramatic play. So, an expose of people whose greed trounces love, loyalty, and all other moral values. Keep watching, and I'll answer those critics who have complained that her character is unsympathetic or that the setting of the production is confusing. But first question, is it relevant today? Well, I guess that partly depends on your politics, but capitalism remains the dominant system, and despite regulation and the welfare state. But we appear to be entering an era of less regulation, in America at least, and have already seen the dismantling of government-funded services here. So I suppose it's timely to be reminded that whatever high quality of service or product we may receive from companies, their number one priority is profit, not people. The play presents some alternatives. Oscar's wife, Birdie, is from an aristocratic family. She represents, if you like, the old values based on patronage, duty and responsibility. She is an alcoholic, bullied by her husband, Oscar, into lacking confidence. She may be brittle, she laughs nervously, she looks down, there's fear in her eyes, but she still expresses her beliefs. It's a powerful performance from Anna Madeley, who shows her beaten down but still proud. And none of this will surprise you if you've seen Anna Madeley as Mrs. Hall, giving much needed weight to the coziness of All Creatures Great and Small. Regina's husband and daughter show that behaving morally is an option. They're played by John Light and Eleanor Worthington Cox, the latter certainly showing how her character grows in strength as events force her to choose between standing up for her beliefs or standing by, watching. In fact, the play's strongest message is that most of us stand by watching bad things happening and do nothing about it. Regina's daughter contrasts sharply with Oscar's son, Leo, played by Stanley Morgan, who has inherited the previous generation's moral bankruptcy. The two black servants show two different aspects of the class that has been most exploited and abused by this family. Freddie McBruce as Cal goes about his job without question, but Andrea Davey as Addie is firm in her opinions and tenderly loyal to those who treat her well. Quite a few reviews criticise the design, suggesting that because it has a mid-20th century look, it was not appropriate and perhaps was even confusing when used in a play set in 1900. Well, on the contrary, I think Lizzie Clachan's design is genius. First and foremost, it does its best not to distract. A turn-of-the-century style would potentially have made the story seem of a bygone age, irrelevant to today. But on the other hand, modern-day clothes and sets would have been too anachronistic for a play that's set over 100 years ago and mentions horses and carriages. Instead, she cleverly plumps for the neutrality of clothes of the time it was written, and the sparse beige set reinforces this, with no distraction of the trappings of the life of the well-off. These are people who want wealth for its own sake. They aren't even that interested in enjoying the luxuries that come with it. So what we have is a grim picture of capitalism with its teeth exposed. But I think it's unfair to suggest, as some critics did, that it fails because the main character doesn't evoke enough sympathy. I found that we had plenty of sympathy with her about the way she was treated, and therefore cheered her on as she exacted her revenge. And that sympathy only heightened the shock of seeing just how far she would go and what sacrifices she would make. I mean, yes, she does become a monster, but it seems almost sexist to me to suggest that this portrait of a greedy capitalist woman can only be of interest if we have sympathy for her. I don't think you have to sympathise with the murdering Macbeth to get involved in his character and story, or the greedy Lehman brothers. Personally, I didn't like Regina as a human being, but it was gripping to see how far she would go and whether she would finally realise there is more to life than money. For me, director Lyndsey Turner delivers a powerful interpretation, and the excellent cast squeeze every ounce of drama out of it. Before the interval, I was wondering whether it was ever going to take off, but when it did, it was riveting. And if you love watching great acting, this is one not to miss. I give The Little Foxes 4 stars. Well, I hope you found this review entertaining and interesting, or if that's too much to ask, at least useful. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe to this channel, then you'll be the first to know about my future reviews. You can also read my reviews and my roundups of other critics' reviews on my website, Theatre.Reviews. And you can follow me on the usual social media. Thank you for watching.